From his hospital bed inside the Virginia Beach City Jail, Henry Frank Herbig Skypes into his bond hearing. The 65-year-old Florida man was paralyzed earlier this month when he was shot inside his stepdaughter's Ocean Lakes home. Her actions have been deemed self-defense, while he has been charged with aggravated malicious wounding and breaking and entering with intent to commit a felony. Because of Herbig's condition, he was unable to be brought into the courtroom. Instead, he looked on, showing no emotion, while investigators talked about the elaborate plan he had to kill his estranged wife. According to prosecutors, Herbig drove to his stepdaughter's home where his estranged wife was staying on September 8th. Inside his car was a lengthy and detailed list of steps he took and planned to take in order to commit murder. Prosecutors say the plan included driving from Florida to Virginia Beach in several different cars, not using any credit cards, having multiple cell phones, disguises, and weapons like wooden batons, a large wrench, and a gun. Herbig allegedly attacked his stepdaughter first with the wrench and then went after his estranged wife. Prosecutors say Herbig's murder plan was only stopped because his stepdaughter shot him with a gun in the home. Prosecutors asked for bond to be denied, arguing that Herbig's wealth, numerous homes, and connections to pilots made him a danger to the family and a flight risk. The defense disagreed, adding that staying in jail would be detrimental to Herbig's health. Ultimately, the judge agreed with the prosecution and denied bail.
Unbelievably bizarre behavior. Like, who comes up with a plan like that? And you write everything down? All right, let's bring in Dr. Jason Piccolo. He's joining us from Church Falls, Virginia tonight, former special agent supervisor for the Department of Homeland Security and the author of Out of the Shadows and the host of the Protectors podcast. Jason, great to see you. This is strange alleged criminal behavior here, right? You're going after your ex. You got this whole plan. You write it all down?
He writes it down, and he's not a stupid man. He rose to the rank of captain, which is pretty high up, and he was a pilot. So it's not like he just hey, you know what? One day I'm gonna become a felon. But yeah, a very elaborate plan. Writes it down, tries to leave no trace anywhere. But he wasn't that smart because listen, he's wearing a wig, he's bringing a blunt instrument with him. Even if he did get away with this, he would have left some sort of trace evidence in that crime scene. There's no doubt.
Now,
very
bizarre, right? And this is a case where he's inside the home and they think there's a stranger who's attacking them. They don't recognize who it is. And they're allegedly about to shoot him again while he's on the ground just to end it. And then he says, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah, his stepdaughter listens and says, "Oh my gosh, I think I know that guy." And if she didn't shoot him, he would have killed both of them easily. I mean, he was using the blunt instrument. He tried to take out the stepdaughter first, and then he goes down a hallway and starts literally killing his ex-wife. So if she didn't shoot him, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have completed this task. What would happen next, though, is I believe law enforcement would have found him. There's no doubt in my mind they would have.
Well, I look at this case now going forward, and, if all of the allegations are true about what they found in the car, like a to-do list, obviously he's found at the scene. They've already determined that she's acting in self-defense. I can't imagine what his arguments are going to be, but when you think about his military background, how do you think any of that may have played just into the way he allegedly approached what he wanted to accomplish here?
Yes, he was very task-oriented. The whole writing it down on a list and making a list and, checking it twice, that's what you do in the military. You plan, and then you execute. But what happens when a plan happens? A lot of times after first contact, in this case, the first time he went through that doorway into his ex-wife's house, the first time he did it, it goes to pot. So you can plan all you want, but unless you follow it to the T, it's not going to go off, even if you do follow to the T.
Now, the other amazing thing about this trial is that you've got two victims who survived amazingly, and they'll be able to testify. But let's talk about what the stepdaughter did here. I mean, she's initially knocked out, and I see it in the movies, right? We always see that scene where, somebody gets knocked out, and then they move on to the next room, but you as the viewer, oh yeah, that person's coming back. Usually it's the bad guy, not the good guy, right? But it actually happened.
No, she does.
I'm
yeah.
shocked that you can get knocked out and within enough time regain consciousness and be able to understand what's happening.
Now, I was an infantry officer. That's on the ground type stuff. He was a pilot up in the air. He's not used to the close contact, and he probably did watch a lot of movies, a lot of videos and stuff, thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to hit someone over the head, and they're going to be out. Well, she, reading the transcripts of this, she goes, retrieves a weapon, and it doesn't fire right away. She's able to get one shot off, and then the firearm jams again. So she was going to go and, stop the threat completely. But yeah, you think that in the movies, she's never getting back up. She's going to get hit, she's going to go down, and she'll never get back up. But no, it wore off. And thank goodness she was able to stop the threat.
The other part of this, right, they're going to testify about that day. I can't imagine how difficult that will be. And I'm wondering, how vivid that must play in their minds over and over again, and the ability for that jury to ultimately hear that story.
And there's no doubt in my mind that they will have some sort of post-traumatic stress. Absolutely. This is just like they're going to be victimized over and over and over again unless he pleads out. And then even then, they're going to have to go through the sentencing and relive this again. So they're going to be really dealing with this for the rest of their lives, and they're really going to need help.
What do you, and this is tough getting inside a criminal mind, right? Again, an alleged criminal mind, because it's just allegations here. That's what we have trials for. But what do you suppose could motivate someone to do something like, someone who's lived seemingly a life where he didn't get in trouble before, to go to this drastic measure?
Well, it's either revenge, something must have triggered him. I don't know what that trigger is. I don't know if he had something in his past. We don't know that. We're just laymen. But something triggered him to make him go and take that furtive gesture to go and allegedly attempt to kill his ex-wife. Was it for money reasons as well? Was she going to tap into his retirement? He had 30 years worth of military. Were they married before he retired and she's allocated to some of that? We don't know. It's either money or revenge or some sort of motive like that.
And the final question here. I mean, do you have any idea what they may argue? I'm looking at this factually, trying to figure out what could he possibly say, or what could the defense possibly say here? What do you see?
Well, they automatically try to get him out saying, hey, you know what, he's bedridden, he's going to get bed sores. One thing they're going to try to do is play on the emotions that now he's paralyzed and try to use that to say, hey, you know what, he's not going to live out his final days, he's not going to make it in jail. I can see that type of defense happening. The other thing they can say is, hey, you know what, he must have had some sort of mental break in order to go through this. The only issue I see with that, well, there's a lot of issues I see with that, is that he meticulous planning down to,
that's always the problem, the details
and everything.
The details. Dr. Jason Piccolo, great to see you. Thank you so much.
You too, Vinny.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Folks, Virginia versus Frank Herbig, trial date. Look at that, January 11th. That's 1 week from today. January 11th, 2021. We'll continue to track this one for you.